How you doing all day? Good morning, folks. Let's get the chat running here this morning. Make sure everything is working just fine. Chat bar chatting. The windshield is spotting. The live stream is streaming. And Brody is beaming. Let's get this chat going here. Make sure that's up. Trimagus. Mr. Benson. Dennis. How you doing? All right, let's get the chat up. Okay, that's good. We got that working. Chat is chatting. Now I can chat with you. Always want to chat a little bit. Little chatter, less flatter. All right, what else we need? Chat. Articles here. And we need this cup of coffee. Well, that's okay. Just getting off work, getting food, and then off to bed. Sleep well. Where does Friday come before Thursday? In the dictionary. And next Thursday is National Orgasm Day. Just gonna ask if you're coming along. And what do French people call a bad Thursday? That's a tragedy. And of course, you've heard of Thirsty Thursday. Well, I'm so thirsty, I'm almost Friday. Good morning, folks from around the world. Magic card collectors, players, and those of you who like to crack open packs and shuffle up stacks of Magic the Gathering cards. It's not too hard to join me here on the morning show. It's the bro to the D. You can get up with me and discuss the prices of Magic cards. Do you like tracking the prices? Is there enough information out there, or is there just too much gall darn information? Let me do it for you. I'm doing it here on the morning show with you folks, fine folks from around the world. Nice to see you, Dennis. Thanks for joining the stream here today. It's going to be a good one. I got a couple of news articles for you folks to get into here this morning. You're going to have a little sip of coffee. And thank you all for tuning in here this morning. Happy post-Valentine's Day. I hope you had a good one. Lots of peace, love, and happiness going out to you out there in the world. I hope you had a decent Valentine's Day. Let's take a minute to warm up here this morning. And you know how we like to do it? When we're getting set to make the stream machine do what it does, do what it needs to do. We're going to take a look at a couple of AI-generated Magic cards here this morning, folks, just to warm up a little bit. Get the microphone warmed up and get the chops working. Make sure that the stream is doing everything that it's supposed to. Excuse me. And Brody's ready to give you folks an extra good show here this morning. So it's Thursday here. Let's go. February 15th. Let's take a look at some AI-generated Magic cards here this morning. You know the rules. If the card is playable any way whatsoever, even if it's a little bit overcosted, if it's functionally correct as a Magic card, it meets all the right criteria. It's got a casting cost. It's got power toughness of his creature at name. We're going to pass it. We'll hear this sound. The dinger. The sound of the dinger. And on the au contraire, mon frere, if the card is got any gibberish on it whatsoever, it's got any non-functional junk text on the card, meaning that it doesn't work or maybe it doesn't even meet the criteria as missing some key information such as a mana cost, or maybe it's got some bad mechanics on it. We're gonna fail it. You'll hear this sound. That's the sound of the buzzing, cousin. All right, cuz we're ready to warm up here this morning. Let's take a look at this one. This one's making me hungry already. This one's making me want to get a snack. Very, very hungry. Hungry. There's a very hungry magic card here. This one. Womp, womp. Let's take a look here. Burger Trap. Burger. Because every burger should be spelled with an O, not a U. Exactly. This is the Burger Trap. If you're out trying to catch yourself a meal in the wild, I suggest you invest in a burger trap. It may be the thing for you to catch those wild burgers that will be hiding out in the field. This, for 4 easy payments of $39.95, you too can trap your own very fine burgers. All right, what is this? This is this hilarious card. It's like a little trap, catch a hamburger. I like this card. I hope it works. What do we got here? We got 1 blue and 2 for the Borger Trap enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a charge counter on Borger Trap. Remove 5 counters from Borger Trap and sacrifice it. Destroy target creature. Oh, hey. So this seems fine. Every upkeep, you got to put a counter on it, charge counter 5 times, and then after the 5th one, this is actually a good card. 5 turns, you get to destroy target creature. Takes a while to do it, but it makes people think about putting a threat out on the battlefield that's going to stick around for a while, or maybe think about your turn 5 play because the Borger, they're going to be getting trapped with the Borger. I like it. Let's pass it. It seems fine. Dinging away this morning, singing and dinging, flinging Borgers at your face this morning is the morning stream, Joe. Thorin and company, good morning. Did you catch a Borger? I think the Borger is the bait in the trap. It is. It is definitely the bait. I agree. Yes, this is what will get you. This would catch somebody like Winky off of Popeye, right? I gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today, right? The Borger is the trap. Is it fair? OP, underpowered, non-functional. I think this is a fair card. Underpowered. Okay. I guess compared to anything like Shoulder It, it's underpowered. Totally. Right? I'd gladly trap you Tuesday. Okay, we rated it fair, but a lot of people say they want more burgers and burgers out of this card. But okay, fine. Nice to see you here, Thorin, and good to have you with us here this morning. Crackle of the God. That's right. That's the one we wake up in the morning, and the crackle of the God wakes you up and it says, "Time to get going." This is an Azorius Planeswalker Descent. 2 blue, a white, and 2 for the Crackle of the God. Legendary Planeswalker Descend. The +1 ability says create a treasure token and a 1/1 white human token. So you get a treasure and a human for the +1. That's actually quite good. -3, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Okay, the -3 is actually not bad. And then, whoa, the -9. Look at this. Exchange your hand and library. Wow. So the alti is you get your library becomes your hand and your hand becomes your library. I don't know, man. Like, you should be able to win from there. If you can't, I think you got problems. But like, is that really what we want to do? I think we're gonna have to give this a pass. It seems OP, but well, in this day and age, let's see. I think this is fair in this day and age. 5 mana for the Planeswalker, -9, so you got to go up 3 times before you get alti it. So it's gonna be sticking around like you're like turn 9 or turn 10. Morning, Dual Brain. Nice to see you, Ed, here, joining us here in the morning feed. Glad to have you with us. I bet you the player rating. I'm going to pass this. This seems fine. The -9, exchange your hand and library. So it's 5 mana to get it out. Then you got to go up 3 times, and then you can finally go down. So you're like turn 10, maybe you can alti this legitimately. Let's see what the player rating is. I'm going to give it a fair. Yeah, it's a fair. It's fair. Welcome to the fair. Step right up, step right up. See the world's fairest stream. Crackle of the gods. Okay, fine. We nailed it. Nailed it. One of those Obsidat Constrictor. Obsidat. This is a 2-1. It's a shade. Why isn't it a snake? It's a shade. I don't know. But it could be a snake. A constrictor namesake would say it's got a good name snake. Yeah, the name snake card could be a shade. And if you grab your spade, you can hit this out of the garden. A 2-1 shade snake with flying. See, shades don't usually have flying. That's the funny thing. A card like Frozen Shade cards in the game that you look at the art and you think it has to have flying. It's a shade. Look at he's hovering, and it doesn't. This is one of those cards that this is a flying shade, unlike most of the shade. All right, let's cast some shade at this card here this morning, the Obsidat Constrictor. 1 blue, 1 for 2-1 flying. Tap it, exert Obsidat Constrictor. Each opponent can't play lands this turn. Whoa, that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. I mean, I think it's okay. Let's give it a pass. I think it's fine. You can turn your opponents off lands, but you got to exert it. So you can only do it like once every 2 turns. Got myself a coffee here this morning. What are you going to rate this? I'm going to say fair. Some people say OP. Get out of here. You're playing it on turn 2. If with a mana rock, you're playing it on turn 1. And then the next turn, you can activate it on turn 2 at the earliest. And then, like, you have to activate it during your opponent's turn because it says each opponent can't play lands this turn. And they're not playing land on your turn. So you have to activate this on your opponent's turn. It's not OP. What are people thinking? This is fair. And then Michael Superbacker's favorite card right here. We got the basketballs, the balls in your court. Sunlight Storm, 1 blue and 4 for the artifact. Whenever you snack on a snow permanent, return up to 1 instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. When Sunlight Storm is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. Ball to me. Ball to me, Gerard. Ballin' on a budget. I think this is the one that got the Supra conversation going yesterday. Ballin' on a budget? Get yourself a Supra. All right. Drifting your Supra into the stream here this morning. We got friends and fans of Magic the Gathering joining us from around the world. It's great to see you folks here on the morning show. I thank you very much for tuning in. That felt good. It felt like a nice warm up. What'd you do for Valentine's Day? Myself and Mrs. Alphonso, we went down to the local collectible shop and picked up a couple of bundles of Murders at Karloff Manor. Now, a couple of things that I noticed in buying the new bundles. Bundles used to be around $39 to $45. That was the price point for bundles once upon a time. I remember we could pick them up at Walmart or any of the, I guess Target. We don't have Target here, but Walmart, the price point was about $40-45. Now a bundle has gone up in price. Cost of the bundle was about $69 Canadian. So that's about $7 US. So now we're paying about $60 to $70 for a bundle up here when we used to pay $45 a few lonely years ago. That was the first thing I noticed, but we were happy to play it. We wanted to definitely get into the new set and try it. So we got the play boosters. So that was the first experience. We got to check out some play boosters, open some play boosters, see what that felt like. It felt kind of mid. It felt like, reinventing the wheel. I don't know. I had a card in my pack from Kaladesh. I think I got a Metal Spinners Puzzle Knot in one of my packs. Some busted cards in there, I must say. Maybe I'll grab my deck here and just go through it with you folks because I got a pretty busted card. It's the 4/2 with flying lifelink and ward 2 that you can disguise it and flip it over and it just like pretty much a board wipe for your opponent. So I played Selesnya as a white card. So the other thing that I noticed is, well, 2 things. One, there's a little bit of a mystery in there, and the 20-sided die is missing 2 numbers. on the 20-sided dice. So if you look at the dice inside the bundles, it's missing two numbers, the 2 and the 16. You're supposed to look through that and use it to like solve the riddle that comes within the bundle. There's like a riddle card in there, and you can't see the clues unless you get that D20 and look through it like a looking glass. So that was kind of neat. I thought it was quite gamified to see that the D20 was like a piece to use to solve the clue. Mrs. Alphonso actually figured that out. I said, "You're a genius. How did you figure that out?" Well, sometimes Brody has the dumb. And let me tell you this, folks. The man is the head in the relationship, but the woman is the neck. And the head can't do anything without the neck. That's a fact. Hardly even think at times. They can't even get pointed in the right direction half the time. So no surprise that she figured that out and informed me that the 20-sided dice in there is actually a looking glass. Pretty neat. The other thing that I noticed over and above the fact that the price has gone up from $45 to $69, and that's how much we're paying for a bundle these days. The other thing I noticed, and other than the fact that the G20 was missing two numbers, which I found peculiar, and then Mrs. Alphonso informed me that it's actually a game piece looking glass that you'll be using to solve the riddle. Still haven't solved the riddle in there. Can't figure it out if it's a map or if it's like a hidden message or something in there. But nevertheless, anybody here open up one of those bundles and try that when enough is enough. Ben Affleck, nice to see. Quick question for Brody. What type of doctor is Dr. Pepper? He's a soda pop. I don't know. What is he? $69 Canadian, Michael. That's the Canadian peso for you. They're giving away our money in record numbers. I guess there was an app that was built here in Canada that taxpayers paid for. It was like a $250 million app. I guess that's what it's up to now. So they just like to give our money away to like spend it on stuff. That causes inflation, and now the price of everything goes up, especially everything that's for shipping. Okay, the third thing that I noticed about the bundles, what is it, Ben? A physician. I love it. Nice one. That's good. What kind of a doctor is a Dr. Pepper? A physician. He's a physician. Ah, you got me good here this morning, Ben. Give me a thumbs up for that one. You get it. You get it. You got it. I'm listening to classical music on Thursday mornings. I listen to a little bit of classical. I call it a throwback Thursday. That's right. Throwback Thursday. Listen to my classical music here in the mornings. Great time. Great time to see you, folks. Okay, so what was the third thing? So bundles have gone up in price. It's $69 Canadian pesos. The dice is missing two numbers, which is actually a looking glass. There's a clue inside the bundle that you have to solve. I haven't done it yet. I can't read it. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. And then the third thing is the packaging. You know, they used to call them fat packs, but it's a rectangular box. I got it around here somewhere. But the packaging was astonishing. How like they could have made that entire bundle a third the size. There's like a bunch of dead airspace in there. Like, and when you pick it up and you shake it, you hear the dice going clunk, 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 clunk around in that big empty box. And it's almost like a big box of potato chips. And there's only like a little bit on the bottom. And you're like, ooh, I'm getting all these chips. And then you open it up and you're like, it's all poof, it's all air in there. So the packaging makes absolutely no sense. I know they want to have the look aesthetic on the shelf and appealing, but like, holy smokes, they're spending 300% more on packaging than is necessary because like the bundle literally takes up about 4 inches with all the packs in there. Those sit inside. The dice goes in the one side, which is 2/3 open. Then the lid goes on there. And sure, it's got some nice art on it. Makes nice display. But the bundle physically, if you had to be like economically wise in the packaging, you could fit it in a box a third the size. It's absolutely hilarious. And then I can't help but think that the point that you're paying for all that extra packaging, it might have something to do with the fact that the bundle price is going up. Nevertheless, wait, did you see the Fallout prices? I got my bundles in the mail yesterday. Which bundles did you get, Michael? Down south, we like to waste money on war. What is it good for? Nothing. I like to waste money on War of the Spark. I like to waste my money on War of the Spark Japanese boxes. That's the only kind of war I like to waste my money on is War of the Spark Japanese booster boxes, right? Like the one I got right here. That's where I like to spend. That's the kind of war I like to spend it on. That's it. As close as I get. Right? Right. Well, for those of you folks tuning in here this morning, you got some folks in the chat. It's nice to see you here this morning. Get up to bat this morning, wherever you are, wherever you've got Brody dragging along for the ride, whether you got me hanging from the rear view mirror, maybe you got me dragging along from the bumper of your car. If you're Richie Dubs, you know you've got me duct taped to the snow shovel this morning as you're out shoveling the driveway. Perhaps you got me elastic band to the hilt of your axe and you're chopping some wood. Whatever you may be doing this morning, I want to thank you folks for dragging me along for the ride. Maybe you're around the water cooler. Let's get into some Magic the Gathering articles today because I hit some cool hits in my packs of Murders of Karlov Manor. I got some interesting cards. Boomstick. All right, the Moxman's here. The Moxman hath entered the stream. All right, Moxman, here we go. Here's my piece. Check out Brian Wiseman. I talked about it yesterday. Brian Wiseman YouTube channel. He's an old school pioneer. He invented the deck. He's been playing Magic the Gathering since 1993, 94 when it first came out. And he's got some old school primers up over at his channel. So I would suggest I know that you had a very, very nice old school video the other day. And of course, when I see old school Magic the Gathering, I immediately think of Brian Wiseman. I would definitely head over there and check out Brian's channel because the guy has got so much insight as far as old school play, old school tech, and old school gameplay and introductory videos as well. So very good source. And if you guys are ever looking for a little bit, and he's interactive too. He does gameplay. And one thing that I think will be very interesting is after 4 years, okay, after 4 long years of sitting on the footage, Brian actually has the footage, and now I could be wrong about this. He has the footage of the 2019 World Championships of Old School. He got the full gameplay footage of the World Championships from 2019 in the old school format, and he's going to do a 4-hour commentary, I think, on the entire gameplay experience. So if you're interested in a little bit more in-depth old school and some commentary about with somebody who can walk you through the matches and give you a little bit of a play-by-play, I would look for that because that will be coming out in the near future. He's promised it. He's promised it. So a little bit of I love old school. I just it drives me mad with anxiety here. I love hearing it. So pre-ordered the Karlov Manor. That's very nice. If the bundles are smaller, where will I store my bulk? I do like the bundle boxes. You're right. They make a nice deck box. So for storage. Got the baby. Oh, nice. You got me hanging in the baby stroller this morning. Very nice. Nice. All right. First thing we want to talk about here is this article right here. Murders at Karlov Manor, picks for Modern. And this is a card that has been getting so much attention. Cannot help but mention it. We're going to cover an article here by Corey Williams here this morning. It should be a decent one because Corey is a heck of a writer here. So let's take a look at this article here by Corey Williams. I did not hit a Leyland of the Guild pack. I did not. I was, and nor would I have been too excited. I got 3 Surveil lands in my packs. I did. I got triple Surveil land. So I was pretty excited about that. Let's get the chat working here so I can make sure. make sure I can chat with you folks here this morning. Uno segundo, por favor. It's Thursday. It's the morning. For those of you who are up and at it this morning, I appreciate you folks. These are the folks that like to move the world. People who get up and kick the dog and have things to do and places to go, and they've got responsibilities and work to be done. And there's all kinds of things that need to be done here in the morning. Yo, 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 Mr. Prime Foe 06. Dennis, actually, Dennis, he's one of the hardworking people out there, and I got a lot of respect for a guy who can do the night shift. Night shift is no easy cake, definitely not. So night shift is something that's definitely no easy task. So appreciate you, Dennis, for taking some time to hang with us here this morning. Taking some time to hang with the Prime here this morning. Let's get the chat going up here. All right, what do we got here? We got Astrid Media in the house. Nice to see you. Michael Superbacker, you got your bundles? A little bundle of joy and dual brains out walking the bundle of joy this morning. Ed, who else we got? Did I miss anyone? Ben Affleck. I gotta go hit the like. Thank you, Ben. If I missed you, just imagine I kissed you. Did I see the Fallout prices? Nice to see you. We got Huckleberry the Magic Hound. Thank you for joining. Benson's there. Benson, congrats on the 365 days of shorts. On the first day of shorts, Miss My Benson gave to me some Magic the Gathering shorts. And let's put the boomstick up. Nice to see you, Mox, man. Thanks a million for tuning in. All right, we got this interesting article here for you folks this morning by Corey Williams. Let's read it. Let's read it and bleed it. In the stream here this morning. It's good. We've got. Okay, the chat's working good. Here we go. Happy Thursday to all modern folks who love Magic the Gathering, people who like to open packs and crack open packs and shuffle stacks of Magic the Gathering cards. As we've touched upon the previous articles, and modern playable cards and standard sets have been decreasing in density for the past couple of years, and Murders of Karlov Manor is no exception to this trend. So these picks might look weaker on the surface, but we stick with me here and we'll dig into the potential all the same. We're talking about Murders at Karlov Manor. We're talking about standard. We're talking about the pickups that you may want to get in your deck. Now, I picked up a couple of bundles yesterday with Mrs. Alphonso. We did a little draft experience at the house for Valentine's Day. That was our treat to ourselves rather than going out. We stayed in and enjoyed a couple of play boosters in our Murders at Karlov Manor bundle. So that was very nice. We're starting off with Leyline of the Guild Pack, a card that we did not open. All right. And I don't think it would have been very useful in limited at all. But perhaps in constructed, this is a card that'll work well for you. I'll start off with the least ambiguous and the least contentious pick, the Leyline of the Guild Pack. People think this thing is worth getting into your collection and picking up as one of the cards and a selection for these Murders of Karlov Manors. I really like this card. Pre-game actions nested in cards like the Leyline cycles of old, Gemstone Cavern, Serum Powder, and the Chancellor cycle from New Phyrexia are some of my favorite cards in the game of Magic the Gathering, and Gemstone Caverns being a big top on that list. Maybe it's because I like the idea of being rewarded for being lucky, right? Sometimes you're better off lucky than good. But being rewarded for being lucky or keeping a fringe hand because it has one of these pre-game action cards available to them to give it to your first mover advantage, even if you aren't on the play. I remember playing Leyline of Singularity back in the day and way back into the day as my answer to Splinter Twin decks. Devoid of an enchantment removal, the Leyline of Singularity shut down Splinter Twin by making all copies of Pestermite or Deceiver XR legendary. So let's take a look at the ley line. What was your favorite ley line? My ley line of choice was put it in. Let's put it in the. Let me just put that up in the comments there. What was your favorite ley line of choice? Let's ask the audience. What was your favorite ley line of choice? Let me know. Want to know what ley line you folks liked previously, or is this your new favorite one? But we're not going to include this one in the poll. I just kind of like to get a sense of what you folks like to play. My favorite ley line, I'll tell you, was the ley line. Oh, it's tough. But it was the ley line of anticipation. That was my favorite one. I thought it was the most potential for picking up and making you play at instant speed. The ley line of anticipation. Now I know ley line of the void was one that I speculated on quite heavily. It was quite good, and it was good graveyard removal. So there's it's pretty tough. The ley line of the void and ley line of anticipation. But for me, I like the ley line of anticipation, the one that has the palm tree. That's my favorite one. So here, going back, Corey Williams is talking about pregame effects being lucky in the ley line cycles that we've got previously, and the singularity was useful in its day in the metagame for trying to stop the splinter twin combos. If singularities in your opening hand, you may begin with it in play. I think that's a prerequisite to any ley lines. All non-land permanents are legendary. So, ha ha! Very, very interesting. That's a good way to stop somebody from making a million fairies with the Pestermite and the Deceiver Exarch. Of course, the Kiki Jiki Splinter Twin combo is a way to win in Commander, especially in a Grixis deck. So perhaps a ley line of Singularity is another way to get around that. Hard to know. I'll add to my wish list. I saw Crimson Vow gift bundles on eBay. How much? We're paying $69 a bundle Canadian, which is like kind of, to me, that's a little expensive. But let's talk about this ley line of anticipation, and let's travel along down the rabbit hole this morning with Mr. Corey Williams here. Let's make this just a touch smaller because Brody's going to shrink in the stream here. We're going to need to take a look at some charts here this morning. Look at this sucker. Look at the chart on this. Brody just wants to put lines on charts. If you see me putting lines on charts, you know we did it here, folks. So this sucker, let's get Brody's pen working here this morning. Got to do it. Don't copy my stuff. Let's go. We've got a card that was already around $10 on pre-release, and people thought it would be worth it. Now it's $20 to $25, and it's ticking down in price for a new printing. A standard card at around the $25 mark seems to be the. I remember Carnage Tyrant. When a standard card hits around $25, you know it's good. Is it going to go higher? Can it go to 35? It's hard to know. I'll probably buy list sitting on too many cards. I haven't touched Paper Magic since last month, late before little B was born. All right, so the ley line of anticipation, where's it going to go from here? Is it going to keep going up? What do you think? Or do you think it's going to go down? Well, I think this thing is going to continue to see support. There's a lot of hype about this, and we haven't even seen decks building it with Domain just yet. Just drafted the new ley line card on Arena. Hope I get lucky. Better lucky than good, right? Thorin and Company. Nice to see you here this morning. What's your favorite ley line? I'd like to know. Is it the ley line of the guild pack, or did you have a favorite ley line in mind? The ley line of the guild pack is an interesting card, and unlike most ley lines, it act as sideboard staples like ley line of the void. Yes, and that's the one that I was talking about, that exiles graveyards. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin with it in play. I'm not going to read that because it's a prerequisite. We know if it's a ley line, it comes into play in your opening hand. But if a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, remove it from the game instead. And then the ley line of sanctity, this one says you can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. This one gives you hexproof. Some pretty interesting ley lines. There's a ley line for just about anything. Ley line of the guild pack, it's interesting, unlike most ley lines, which are sideboard staples like the ley line of the void and ley line of sanctity. Ley line of the void been good sideboard tech for years for people who are looking to play out of the graveyard. If somebody's reanimating stuff or playing out of the bin, even dredge, ley line of the void will really shut that down. And ley line of sanctity was the one I think you wanted to get against a burn map. If somebody was trying to, you're not familiar with ley lines. Well, okay, I'm sort of. I'll level with you here, Michael. I was not ley lines. When I got back into Magic, I missed a lot of sets. Okay, I stepped away from the game for a few years, and I missed a lot of sets, and most of them are the ones that had the ley lines in it, like Guild Pack. I didn't play during that, and then even this M11 also didn't play with that. So I missed most of the early ley lines, and they were expensive, and we haven't seen a ley line printed, a new one printed, in quite a while. So I had to familiarize myself with the ley lines as well. Basically, there was a few decks that were like ley line decks. That's like pretty much what they play, is all ley lines, or a lot of the ley lines, like 4 or 5 different ones. And then it's basically trying to get these enchantments that if you have them in your opening hand onto the battle, you get to put them onto the battlefield for free. So it's hard to know if you're going to like straight up hit your ley lines in your opening hand. If it's a sideboard piece and you've only got like a couple of them, then it may be difficult to hit the ley lines. But there are some decks that are like mono ley lines. So ley lines were a good way to hedge and have some sideboard tech. But there are a few decks out there that use the ley lines in the main board. So the Ley Line of Sanctity and the Ley Line of the Void come to mind as sideboard ley lines that are good against people in certain matchups. The Ley Line of the Guild Pack is really interesting because unlike most ley lines that act as a sideboard piece, and there's a strong argument that Ley Line of the Guild Pack is a main board staple in some decks. Yes, that seems to be the difference between the Ley Line, the new Ley Line. It seems like a main board card. Now, I know there was a main board Ley Line deck, and I know a guy like Tony, Mr. Latorno. He was playing ley lines. I think he was playing like a full-on ley line deck. All right. A deck that runs the ley line of the guild pack, it would probably be playing it main board. And I know that the Domain Zoo deck comes to mind as the strongest contender to run it. As a deck that runs 5 colors with many non-land cards, leveraging the domain mechanic for immense value like Tribal Flames and Nishoba the Brawler. Let's see, what do we got? Tribal Flames. Mr. Clean, Tribal Flame, Tribal Flame. What do we got here? This is a sorcery, costs you 1 red and 1. Tribal Flame deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. So we're going to see cards like this spike all over some older cards, and like Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. That's another land that it does damage equal to the number of mountains you control. So there's going to be some cards that are going to spike in price because of the shakeup of this new ley line. Cards that work well with it, and any card or creature that has a buff for the number of permanents you control. So Tribal Flames, this one deals damage equal to the number of land types that you control for 2 mana. So I guess the best you can get is like a 5 damage for 2 mana sorcery. That's pretty decent. And then this one here, Nishoba the Brawler. Let's see, star 3, Cat Warrior creature, 1 green and 1 for a trample. It's got domain. Nishoba the Brawler's power is equal to the number of land types among lands you control. So it makes it a 5/3 for 2 mana. So you're just getting value out of this ley line for the domain effect, making things better, much better. So Nisha about the brawling leyline binding, again a removal card with flash and domain that says it costs 1 less to cast for each color among permanents you control, and this is pretty much like an Oblivion Ring, something that can remove a creature when it enters the battlefield. Exile target non-land permanent, so it can exile anything an opponent controls until leyline binding enters the battlefield, and then it costs 1 less for each basic land type you control. So you can see the setup for this card happening for years. All these cards with the domain mechanic being around for quite a few years, and then all of a sudden it's getting a ley line of the guild pack to support it. So sometimes we got to wait a while. When did domain start? I guess that's the question. When did domain first start? And then the Scion of Draco. Holy smoke! This is another card that we talked about last week. This card's up almost 500%. since the Leyline of the Guild Pack was printed. This is a 4/4. It costs 2 less to cast for each basic land type you control. So let's face it, we're playing this for 2 mana. If we've got the Leyline of the Guild Pack, it started in Invasion. Thank you, Benson. So Invasion. Domain was introduced in Invasion. That's quite a while ago. So this has been setting it up for years. That's how you can see that it can take actually some years to actually get the support and to like close the loop. I guess it doesn't get any better than Leyline of the Guild Pack. What could be cheaper? Nevertheless, this one has flying, and each creature you control has vigilance if it's white, hexproof if it's blue, lifelink if it's black, first strike if it's red, and trample if it's green. Basically, all your creatures get all those abilities. And this thing costs 2, and it's a 4/4 with flying, and it gets those abilities too, because it becomes all colors, even though it's a colorless card. So here's a card that's gone up almost 500% since the Leyline was printed. One interesting thing that I noticed about the Leyline of the Guild Pack is that it's suited and it's favored to green, right? So you can play it. If you're not playing green, you have to be running 4 colors. That's basically the way I see it. If you're playing green, you could run this in mono green, no problem, because it's green and a white, and green and a blue, green and a black, and then green and a red. So if you're running green, you got to run green and at least green and one other color. And if you're not running green, you have to run 4 colors. That's basically the way this reads. So green is very favored amongst the Leyline of the Guild Pack for as far as casting it. So that's something to consider when building it. It's something I immediately noticed last night, actually, when I was reading about this card a little bit more. So Scion of Draco getting all 5 land types in play becomes the most arduous part of the deck's game plan to be functional. Okay? Getting all those land types in play. The hardest part of running the Scion to actually get it to be fully effective. The Leyline of the Guild Pack gives you complete domain, so to speak. So before you even play your first land for the game, makes the Scion of Draco playable as early as turn 2 and a Wild Nicodle on turn 1. That's a 3/3. I remember the Wild Nicodle. It wasn't useful in Invasion unless you ran dual lands with it. It sucked. So the Wild Nicodle, I thought this was a neat card. First time it's a zoo. It's a zoo card, a zoo tribal, right? Gets +1/+1 if you have a mountain, and +1/+1 if you have a plain. So you can get a 1 mana 3/3s. So what's the drawback to the Leyline of the Guild Pack? To have this card work at full effectiveness, it needs to be in your opening hand. Full stop. If it's not, the entire paragraph above becomes null and void. I like the way Corey's written this here. It's almost a Lord Ale. So unless it's in your opening hand, its effectiveness is entirely null and void. That's the inherent risk one runs when going this route with Domain Zoo. You not only need 4 copies of the card to make it work, representing a high opportunity cost compared to those 4 slots could otherwise be used for, but one of those 4 cards needs to be in your opening hand. I would imagine that most Domain Zoo players would prefer to just go the more consistent fetch land and try land route to get Domain online. But beyond the fragile explosiveness that the Leyline of the Guild Pack offers potentially to Domain players, it's a 5-color permanent that can, in theory, be pitched to pay for all the evoke costs associated with the subtlety, endurance, solitude, and grief elementals. So that's actually quite super relevant here. Thank you, Corey, for this one. So not only does the Leyline pitch to the elemental cycle of creatures that you can evoke, but not Fury, wink, wink, because it's banned. It's a tough one for me to imagine a shell, however, that isn't that utility would be useful on top of this static ability. Maybe 4 or 5 color elementals. It's tough to say. Brody, you didn't see the other 2 times I said it. Have you seen the situation with Fallout collector boxes? No, I heard it was canceled. What's the deal? Give me the dilly. I'll probably buy a list sitting on too many cards. What do you say? I'll add it to my list. Thanks for the suggestion. Need a Crimson Vow bundle. I haven't got a bundle since Midnight Hunt. What else did you say here? What else am I missing? Hello there. Just dropped the new Leyline card on Arena. Hope we get lucky. Add it to my wish list. Thanks for the suggest. I didn't see it. Okay. Oh, that's dual brain. 2 times. You didn't see the other 2 times. I said it. Have you seen the situation with Fallout collector boxes? No. Oh, it's brain. What is the situation? Did you see Fallout prices? No. No, I did not. Gonna make a video about it in a bit, but have you looked at the collector boxes? No. 200 to 350 bucks US. Okay. Give it a quick search. It's up to $300 a box everywhere on TCG, Many Wolf yesterday at that price point. It's sold out most places. Is that on pre-order right now? Yeah. It's not $200 anywhere. It's 300 plus. Wow. That's quite the cost, actually, Brain. And very few sellers. Is there good stuff in there, or is it just going to be the rarity? I'll have to take a look at that. Look at TCG. TCGP? TCG player. Let's have a quick look. Fallout bundle. Heavy hitters, Flesh and Blood, Murders at Manor, new sets. Let's go Fallout bundle. Dum 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 dum. Magic. Fallout. Out of stock. This one here. Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, Fallout Collector Booster Bundle, $292.20. That's the one. Nobody even knows what's in there. Sight unseen, 300 bucks. Okay, I guarantee that it's sold out, and Google is showing that it was at. Nothing is left after the nuke. So this is on pre-sale. This was a surprise. Oh, it's out of stock as well. This was a surprise launch of a product that I believe was canceled. Am I right? I think it's kind of interesting. Bottle caps artifact. We'll have to keep an eye on this one and see where it goes. Sold out. Smokes. Yeah, that's okay. So I'm here sitting here complaining about the $69 Murders at Karloff Manor bundle, and that one's 300 bucks. How could it be sold out? Nowhere to be found. Let's keep going here. Beyond the fragile explosiveness that Leyline of the Guild Pack offers potentially to domain players, it's a 5-color permanent that in theory can be pitched to pay for the evoke cost of your elementals. I finally added benefit of this card is that it gets around Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon, but not allowing your non-basic lands that have been turned into mountains to now be every other land type too. But again, there are more effective ways to circumvent moon effects, like Beside You Who Endures, and is most Beside You. This is the one that just gets rid of enchantments, right? You can cycle it, channel it. Then hoping to rip a ley line in your opening hand in games 2 or game 3 matchup. Yeah, what are the odds of ripping a ley line in your first hand in all 3 of your games? Pretty slim, and it seems like a kind of a fringe way to build around a deck. Overall, I see this card having a fair potential, but more interesting is the effect that the static ability makes all your non-land permanents every color. To me, there's a lot of untapped potential in the ability that's under discussed. Although it's easier for me to imagine how to break that ability in Commander or Legacy that modern, so for the time being, we'll table the discussion. Although who knows, with the recent results from rolling in from RC Denver, the ceiling for this card may still be ever increasing. Let's see where the dust settles. Comes out March 8th. Only one seller on TCG for English and one on eBay. Holy smokes. I opened 3 of these Surveil lands in my bundle last night. Now I'm wondering I'm wondering what's the price point for these. Being Triomes are about 12 to 14 bucks, maybe 20 on the high side, depending if you get the foils or not. But the Surveil lands are, it has yet to be seen. I was actually a little disappointed. It's not wasn't like the shock lands or that were in the earlier Ravnica set. Mill Masters here. Nice to see you, hey. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about the bundle price of the MTG Fallout, and about two to $300 USD sold out in stores. We're also talking about the pickups from Murders of Karloff Manor, the ley line of the guild pack, and I'm wondering how decent these Surveil lands are going to be long term, and how are they going to hold up compared to some of the other fetchable lands like the shock lands or perhaps the triomes. It's only time will tell. Right now, they're sitting about $3 to $4, perhaps. With a mass rate of reprints, proxies will be more valuable in the aftermarket. What is your favorite ley line of the past? What is your favorite? What was your favorite, Millmaster? Let me know. I opened 3 of these in my bundle, so that means in a limited situation, all 3 of my rares in the rare slots were these lands. And quite honestly, none of them were useful because I was playing a Selesnya deck and I didn't get my colors. So it'll be an interesting to see how the prices of the Surveil lands hold up over time. I would say for the $2 to $3 mark, perhaps for the land, it's a don't make the mistake that I did with the Triomes and wait to pick them up later because they're only going to go up in price. This is another reason why I kind of wanted to open some of the Murders of Karloff Manor because I wanted to get a couple of copies, see if I could hit any of these, but I didn't expect to hit 3 in my bundle. All right, one interest must always peak at the prospect of new fetchable lands. The question that becomes, are these fetchable lands that are worth it compared to shocklands or triomes? Well, we've seen fetchable snowlands in Kaldheim and fetchable artifact lands in Modern Horizons, and aside from a few niche cases in a very fringe deck in the format, these fetchable alternatives have seen play. And the last time that I remember a fetchable land that wasn't a shock or a triome being impactful in Modern was the Mystic Sanctuary, which soon got banned. So, which was so impactful that it was cut off at the knees and Nix, the Field of the Dead, and Tybalt's Trickery too. Oh, the memory. So time will tell that if the latest cycle of fetchable lands for the constructed play, whether or not we have the Surveil lands, and all 10 are available in this set, coming in every 2-color combination in Magic's Color Pie. Surveil is a great mechanic and one that is used in Modern predominantly in Murktide Regent decks that run other cards like Consider and Dragon Rage Channeler. Beyond these 2 cards in this archetype, however, the utility of Surveil goes down immensely across other decks in the meta, fetching into a Thundering Falls on your opponent's end step. Surveilling and then beginning your next turn only puts a land and potentially one other card into your graveyard to get a Dragon Rage Channeler close to hitting its boost. It also adds 2 cards that can be delved away to play for Murktide region, and this is all fine, and the synergies are quite clear cut, but it's difficult to imagine Surveil being heavily utilized in any other meta deck in the format that makes potential of these lands high than just an archetype of convenience for the deck or 2. Living End is another prime candidate, an example of tinkering with Thundering Falls and Hedge Maze as one ofs as a plant more creatures in the graveyard. But again, it's tough to say how high the adoption rate will be as of yet. Leyline of Anticipation because only degenerate combos use it. I also said Leyland of Anticipation, Millmaster. That's funny you should say that. But we're right on point. I like the Leyline of Anticipation in the Jeskai Ascendancy deck. Hey, the Hillbillies here. No one has the Fallout bundles. Oh, I get it, Benson, but like I say in today's video, Fallout fans are ravenous. So the Fallout is a video game. Maybe this is why I don't follow so much. Like the other day when we were talking about this on the stream, I think you were mentioning like there's like how many editions of the Fallout game is there? Several. I think you did mention it's up to like 100 or something, perhaps. So the thing is I myself never played the Fallout game. So I don't have like the following of the gameplay to get excited about it. I'm just like, it's another set. I'm not sure what it does. We'll see what happens. Maybe if there was like a Minecraft I bet you if there was a Minecraft intellectual property crossover in a universes beyond, then there would be a lot of people that would want to get the Minecraft set. It's only a matter of time, or maybe even a what's the name of that game? Call of Duty. Huh? We're gonna get a Call of Duty Magic set to try and reel in some Call of Duty players. Who knows? I think it's totally possible. I'd rather buy a vintage fat pack rather than, yeah, that's expensive. Okay, at this point, you might be calling me out. Corey, these lands are pre-ordering at $4 to $5 each. Clearly, there's some demand, right? There is absolutely in Pioneer. While some of these surveil lands, namely Thundering Falls and Undercity Sewers, may have potential to see play as one of or two of, these lands will most be impactful in Pioneer, where decks like Demir's Surveil have had much potency. All the time, there's potential for these lands to be sleeper hits in Modern Evolved and in Modern Horizons 3 looming on the horizon, perhaps picking up a few play sets of the once bottom out for a couple of weeks past post-release will offer potential for low risk, medium reward. Time will only tell. Myself, I want to pick them up for around the $3 to $5 mark, or maybe a little less if I can, simply because I saw what happened with the Triomes. In long term, they could end up being, there could be one color suited one that ends up being quite good. So while they're cheap enough, I think it would be around a good idea to pick up a place out. Follows have been around since the mid to late 90s. Case of the Crimson Pulse. So yes, like just like Doctor Who, another series that's been around for years, they definitely get they're definitely getting some long loyalty fan bases back into the fold with these new releases by tapping into the nostalgia of old IP such as Fallout. And what about the cases? I found the cases quite interesting in gameplay. My favorite case was the case of the hothouse. That's the one that lets you put extra lands onto the battlefield because that's what I like to do. We got the case of the Crimson Pulse. The cases are the next iteration of enchantment innovation. In the game of Magic, unlike sagas, which are accrue value turn over turn, only to be sacrificed, cases like battles offer usually immediate value upon being played, and then they need to be solved, usually by meeting some condition, and they offer even better ability of some variety once the cases are solved. Many cases, like they lie mechanically between battles and sagas, which make them interesting prospects from a gameplay standpoint. I saw you in the chat. That's why I said that. Nice to see you. Nice to see you guys having a good time here this morning. I love the chatter. I love seeing the comments go by. It's interesting to see your folks bringing these new thoughts and ideas, stuff that I haven't considered. That's another reason I love doing this show. Because, like, I have to tell you a secret. Last night, when I drafted with Mrs. Alphonso, our Murders of Karloff Manor packs for Valentine's Day, she won the first game, and then I proceeded to go on to win like 9 in a row, and I couldn't lose. The deck was hot, and I was just having too much fun. And she says, how can you get so like lucky at this game? I was like, well, I do kind of follow the cards every morning, and I kind of know which ones uh have a community uh consensus about being powerful. So when you see them in your limited build, I almost want to windmill slam them, like cards like Pick Your Poison and Hard Hitting Question. Those are two cards that I saw reviewed, and I think the Pick Your Poison is even good enough for 4-player commander because it says each opponent. So I'm like really, really want to consider putting that 1-mana green spell in my deck. Twiddler's here. Good morning, Twid. Nice to see you here this morning. We're talking in the chat. We're talking about Fallout. Prices of Fallout. Have you seen this? On pre-order, Magic the Gathering Fallout Collector boosters. This is the booster box display. The bundle on pre-sale sold out. This is $292 US. So this is the cost to try and find this if you can. So the Fallout bundle, unbelievable. I was complaining about my $60 bundle for Merses of Karloff Manor, but nevertheless, the $300 bundle seems ridiculous. So we've got some. I already ordered my cases. What cases? Did you order cases of Fallout? And how much did you pay? For $300 a bundle? What did you order for Fallout? Must know. All right. Robert O'Brien's here. Nice to see the man from K-Town. Thanks for joining us here. Got your coffee going up. Yeah, my coffee's there. Still there. Still got a little left. So there's a lot of reasons Battle never took off in the modern metagame. There's another article that Corey's brought us about this, but typically their utility is boiled down simply by a cost-benefit analysis and does playing this battle offer immediate value, and if not, don't play it. The one of the fable of the Mirror Breaker is the one that's a mythic, and it is the exception to this entire rule because there are decks that rely on it because you need the token creature. Is it loyalty, though? I think that Magic's problem is there are too many people buying Magic with very little investment or commitment to the longevity of the game. Lower 200s, I want to say 239 plus tax. That's what you're in at. All right, I got 2 boxes on pre-order myself. They could still end up being canceled. Long-term longevity of the game. Yeah, you see packs and boxes behind me. It's like I want to sit on that stuff for a couple of years. I do. All right, let's take a look at these cases. Let's crack the case on these cases to see if they're worth getting in to your collection or not. I think the cases were quite fun to play, especially on limited. They can be powerful. I played the case of the hothouse, the one that lets you put an extra land onto the battlefield, and that's something that I like to do. It also lets you. It's going to be debatable whether the 4-mana case is going to be playable in a competitive format where you have to actually compete with 4 other players and people can win the game as early as turn 4. So it might be a long stretch. Perhaps in a stacks deck that slows the game down, maybe it'll be good enough, but only time will tell. I'm going to have to play with it and see how it goes. So as far as the sagas going in modern, there's very few of them that you're going to see being played. The Fable of the Mirror Breaker is one. The set won't be canceled. Who said that? Was it the Moxman? Perhaps. There are very few battles where you can say yes, both of those conditions, and even then, they don't have an obvious home in the format. Sagas are a little different, but realistically, Urza's Saga sees the most play of any saga in Modern by a long shot, with Fable of Mirror Breaker in second. So where do cases fit into this? Similarly to battles, cases need to offer some value that immediately impact the game at the very least. Secondly, they need to have a worthwhile solving factor or having a deck where meeting the solve conditions are easy to do and offer an ability that is worth solving the case for. Enter the case of the Crimson Pulse, my favorite case in the set. Is that the one that lets you tutor? All right, for 3 mana, this case enters the battlefield and enables you to discard your hand and draw 2 cards. It's on par with Fable of the Mirror Breaker's second ability, which is a terrific value right off the bat, so that the condition for solving it, the case can be being hellbent or having 0 cards in your hand. And finally, we have a reason to play One with Nothing. So we were talking about One with Nothing just a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, actually. Earlier in January, we're trying to figure out, like, how this card can be good. I wouldn't be surprised if One with Nothing actually took a tick up in price. Let's have a look at it here. It hasn't. What's the foil version worth? Hard to know. From Survivors of Kamigawa, foil version is $12. So One with Nothing, finally getting a reason to discard your hand, and okay, let's be serious. But without the hand in Modern, it's not difficult to do. But especially with the scam mechanics running away with the format again, one condition for cases being worthy of consideration is the easy solving ability without having to warp your deck into to do so. This case meets that criteria flawlessly. Well, plenty of people will experience that. What is he? Pre-ordered, canceled, Ed? Oh, it's already past that. Just checking. P4 Football Pete, I think, on eBay is reliable. Earlier sellers doesn't cancel orders or just refuse to buy until they hit their shizen. Together is a better option. Yeah, it's annoying when people on eBay cancel the sale because the price of a card or a product is going up in price, and then they decide that they can get more for it, so they unlist it, cancel the sale, and then they try to resell it again later. So we're talking about Murders at Karloff Manor pickups. We're talking about the cases. It's a magical utopia. No one will cooperate to do a boycott to make change. Trust me on this. People want tendies, and they're out for themselves. I want tendies. Okay, so in Rakdos builds, this case can be solved pretty quickly, being that it is once the ability is solved, is extremely good. And while you have to discard your hand at the beginning of your upkeep, you draw 2 cards. Effectively, you'll end up drawing 3 cards every turn once this case is solved. And at the cost of the cards you held in your hand in the first place, the benefits is always outweigh the cost for most decks that could capitalize on this mechanic. Part of me wants to brew Hollow One with this card running as an engine piece, or toy around with cards that have the madness mechanic. We're discarding them every turn once the case is solved, is akin to casting them at a reduced cost anyway. So this card is worth the pickup, even if its potential is purely speculatory. I'd say so. It's barely over $1 at the time of the release, so picking it up in the playset is cheap and easy. It offers, very least, a nice redundancy with Fable of the Mirror Breaker and has a lot of interesting potential beyond that. That's the case of the Crimson Pulse. Same mana cost as the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So that's a suggestion from Corey Williams here, and says, going forward, the reaction to Karloff Manor has in general been lukewarm. I'm with Corey on this one, and it's a fine set with some nice pieces for Commander and Standard, and especially Pioneer. Modern, on the other hand, doesn't feel like it gains a ton compared to previous sets like Lost Cavern of Ixalan and Wilds of Eldraine. Beyond the cards mentioned today, there are some other pieces with decent potential, as well as including Fugitive Codebreaker and Archdruid's Charm. Having said that, the potential is there for other cards. Delny the Streetwise Lookout, for example, to be game-changing if the meta shifts more favorably towards mono-white decks. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. In theory, Delmy does double all Soul Warden triggers, or similarly Soul Sisters, which can lead to some pretty out-of-hand games. However, Modern is rife with spots of removal. In the absence of Fury's mass removal presence in the format that's making cards like Delny and other fringe options from Karloff Manor difficult to neatly slot into the format. Overall, Karloff Manor is an incredibly favorable, innovative, and fun experience to draft and play. So don't trust its low potential. Modern steer you away from the financial investment and fun. Corey Williams giving us a heck of a read here this morning. What a well-written article. Packed with lots of information. I almost want to go back and reread this one a little later today because there's some really good insight on some pickups, including the Surveil lands and the sagas, or rather the cases that could be solved, and including the Leyline of the Guild pack. What a fantastic. I got to give you.
Buy low, sell high, that's my motto. I may just quit my job at the power plant and become a full-time stock market guy.
All right, Corey, thank you for making this a fantastic article here today. I appreciate that. It's a good one. How are we doing here? All right, where are we at? We've got the amazing fans of Magic the Gathering, those folks of you who like to open packs and shuffle up stacks of Magic the Gathering cards. It's not that hard. You can join me here on the morning show each and every day where we talk Magic the Gathering, we talk news, we talk articles, we got people who join us. We talking Fallout in the comments here. I didn't even see that. How did I miss that? Thank you for that one. $200 to $300 a bundle. Unbelievable. That's wild. Well, I'm asking you folks, what do you think about the ley lines? Do you think they're good enough? Are these cheap enough? Is something you want to pick up? Time will tell. But it's time to move and shake in your seat with me here on the morning show, folks. Let's just get a little bit closer to the Friday that's coming up on the weekend. And thank you folks for joining me. We're going to take a look at the legacy list today. Really, one of my favorite formats in Magic the Gathering, that and old school. So if you guys haven't tuned in to Brian Wiseman over there, if you like the old school, there's going to be some cards that you may be seeing old school. So check that out. If you like the old school format, this is a good place to check it out. Thursdays, Modern Monday, Tuesday Pioneer, Wednesday Pauper, and Thursday Legacy. Let's go. Jürgen, Morgan, Jürgen. You're heading out, Dual Brain? I'm still here. We got to talk about the toe tapping, the shaking your feet and moving in your seat here this morning. We got the legacy list to go. Let's go. This is something that I saw here on the channel this morning, and I was wondering, I was like, why is the unlimited fork so... Stick a fork in me, I'm done. No, we're not done. We're going to hit this list. Let's take a look. Hot dice rolling in the stream here this morning. Thank you for joining me. Let's get looking at this one. Okay, the unlimited version of the fork, $299. Is this authentic? Is it authentic? Does it really mean? Look at the chart on this one. It's a lot of up and down. Not a lot of sales data to show this chart. Getting a Vince McMahon pooped on and passed out around your buddies to have their way with you. Vince McMahon. Oh my God. That's what's up. Oh my God. Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble, isn't he? That guy. I think he's in a lot of trouble. Oh gosh. What's up, y'all? Wrong flute, right? No, this is definitely this is the different tune here. Like, oh, this is a fork. OMG, Huckleberry, you're making me blush here. Stop it. All right, let's check this out here. We got copy, target, instant, or sorcery spell. Well, you want a cheaper version of this? You can play Reverberate. All right, this one is $300. The infamous Nozzle card. Nozzletov, nice to see you. You can get a revised copy. I hear a lot of talk about this card, Copy Artifact, and Wheel of Fortune being right up there on the reserve list for the revised edition. This one's $41. Well, how high was it at one point in time? I think there's a spike here. Yes, going all the way back to, where are we here? Boop, 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 boop. Going all the way back to as high as 2021 at the $200 to $300 mark. This card is kind of expensive, and well, I don't see it. I don't see it going much lower. This seems quite like a good time, especially all reserve list cards. Anything that has been hanging out cheap for a while, there's a potential that there could be any. I don't think there's, myself personally, I disagree with anybody who says that the market could turn around in an instant and all of a sudden these cards that you thought were cheap are going to be expensive just like overnight. I don't think we're going to see any improvement in economical finance in the world and people having extra money to buy any reserve lists or extra products until the end of this year, 2024 at least, maybe halfway into 2025. I think we got another at least 8 to 12 months of soft prices. I can't say it enough. According to George Trich's chart and periods to make money, there's not going to be a lot of extra income out there, and people are going to be suffering as long as our dollar keeps getting deflated and we keep sending it over, spending it needlessly on other stuff. There's no way that people are going to have disposable income to spend on reserve list cards, and that's going to just completely be open for speculators to pick up these cards at cheap prices from now and I would say at least the next 8 months. Sending out those checks. Chrome Mox next on the list, up 125%. 25%, up 25%. It's a good Mox. What's the cheapest one? This is a Meriden version. Cheapest one is $22. Actually, you know what? Mrs. Alphonso got the Secret Lair. Secret Lair 30th anniversary countdown. This one? What? $150? I'm gonna have to take a look because I think she got this Secret Lair. And this Mox is already $110. How cool. Now that would have been a Secret Lair to pick up. $100 for the Chrome Mox and the Secret Lair. Quite good. I'll have to ask her what the entire Secret Lair was worth. Goedemorgen, Jurgen. Thank you for joining here. Foil is rare. All right. I throw my Chrome Mox and foil in for pennies back in 2009. The cheapest version of the Chrome Mox you can get. What are we? We definitely got an expensive one. I think the From the Vault is worth about 400. Meriden foil, where's the From the Vault? Oh, the Kaladesh. This is probably the most expensive one. Kaladesh Inventions. Then we've got I thought there was one from the Vault. Why am I just not seeing it here? From the Vault, from the Vault, from the Vault. World Championship decks. Huh. All right, and double masters. Well, if you open any one of these Moxes, you're at least $100. They're quite expensive and quite good. Reason being, they're playable in Commander as well as Legacy and CEDH. Look at the tick up in price. Very strong card. Isn't it amazing to see cards like modern age cards that are printed lately worth $103? Yet all these cards on the reserve list that are 30 years old are still tanking in price. Like you looked at the fork and how that chart had been softening out, and there's not any more of those being printed, but yet something like the Chrome Mox like this continues to take a push up in price. I picked up 10 of them when the countdown kit was. I picked up 10 of them. The countdown kit was $150. You picked up 10 of those kits, Hot Dice? Nice. Very nice. Confirm that for me. You picked up 10 of the countdown kits? Tomato jelly with jam and toast. Very well done. In the Eye of Chaos. Here's a neat card from Legends. Here's a permission spell. Instant and sorceries are countered unless caster pays. You're my kind of guy, Hot Dice. You picked 10 of those kits up? Yeah, buddy. Nicely done. I like it. Wow. It's my kind of guy. You can see something you like and you just jump on it, right? You gotta like it. I mean, buying stuff like I bought the Rudy kit, I bought the secret what is it? The Legend Story Studios Rudy card. I bought the kit with 3 cards, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna play it, but it's collectible. I kind of like it. It's okay. I'll buy it. Buy the stuff you like. I just wanted one, was in line, and went YOLO. Nice, nicely done. This one makes everybody pay X more, where X is the casting cost of the spell. Gilded Drake, another card on the top of the list here, especially in Legacy. This one's on a reserve list. It's quite good. This thing is going to keep going higher. Dusty Cully told me about this card years ago, so I picked up a couple of them, and this card was as high as what, $600? Gilded Drake's quite good, and I don't see it going anywhere much lower than this. But I think we're going to see some softening, and it's going to get a little bit tasty here for the next foreseeable couple of months. Jurgen, I got a few countdown kits as well, but remember, the non-foil is a lot less than the foil. Very cool. So the Gilded Drake, a card that allows you to swap control of the Gilded Drake with your opponents. Let's face it, this is basically control magic for 2 mana. Your opponent gets a 3/3, you get to exchange the best card in the game. And then we've got Ancient Tomb, Pyramids, a $50. Pyramids is up to $150. You know, there was a buyout on this card a few years ago, probably about 8 or 10 years ago. I had a buddy of mine. This card was up to $400. He wanted a volcanic island. Okay, look at the chart on the pyramids. I think this is funny as a funny card. What's it at now? It's at $150. This card had a buyout on it years ago, right around, what are we, 2019, 4 or 5 years ago? Right here. Pre-Pyramids buyout was like 20, 30, $40, and then now it spiked up to $400 or $500, and it's just been trending down. Now it's holding at $150. Back in the day, I traded a place out of these pyramids for a volcanic island when it was about $50 a piece. I did not too much, not too bad. Not much, not much. Less these days. It's been climbing. People love retro. I like the retros too. Pyramids, where are we playing this? Probably nowhere. That's the sad thing. It's 6 mana. You might play this in an artifact deck that's going to animate your artifacts and maybe get a 6/6 out of it at best. It prevents a land from being destroyed for 2 mana, or it removes an enchantment from a land. It's actually very niche. It's quite interesting. It's got cool art on it. It's from the Arabian Nights block, and it's a rare, so that's got that going for it. But other than that, I don't see people playing this much of anywhere. It doesn't seem like it's going to get a whole lot of attention and deck usage at all, other than the fact that it's quite rare. It's a rare from Arabian Nights. That alone is stand a reason to pick it up for collectability, and the fact that it's on the reserve list. I needed it for my reserve list collection, so I figured why not. We also got a Blessing, another card we've talked about, and then this other Arabian Nights rare thing that stands out to me, Chromox here from the vault, also in 2 iterations here on the movers and the shakers, and the Drop of Honey. This is a card that seems, I'm so glad that I picked this up a few years ago. It's $429, and this one's quite good. I'm writing it in a lands deck to try and see if I can use it to neutralize the board and just stabilize things in a land stacks deck. We'll see how it goes. At the beginning of your upkeep, you destroy your target creature with the least power, can't be regenerated, and creatures that are tied for the least power. You choose one of them. There are no creatures on the battlefield. Sacrifice, Drop of Honey. So if you want to know how I'm playing this, I'm playing it with Living Lands. Okay, and you're going to be like, what are you talking about, Brody? So Living Lands, another green card. All forests are 1/1 creatures that are still lands. And then now the Yavimaya card that makes all forests and I guess the ley line of the guild pack as well. But you throw the Living Lands in there, you play the Yavimaya that makes all lands forests, and now all lands become 1/1s as well. And then the Drop of Honey, well, that means that every single upkeep, it says if you destroy the creature with the least power. So if all lands are forests and all forests are 1/1s, then that means every upkeep you get to blow up somebody's land with Drop of Honey, because everybody has forests with the new Yavimaya, the card that makes everything a forest. So it seems kind of niche. It seems kind of gross, kind of funny. But another thing too you can do is if you can find a way to, if you can throw in the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale in there. Now those forests all have an upkeep cost of 1, so now they have to tap themselves in order to pay their upkeep costs, and then you just throw in a Winter Orb on top of that, and then what happens when somebody board wipes with Armageddon? Then it goes away. Then it starts eating out creatures, eating them up, and then once their lands are gone, and I actually want to play Armageddon because I'm playing Crucible of Worlds, Ramanap Excavator, Mending of Dominaria, and the cards it's a 50 land commander deck. So I want to be playing as many lands as I can, especially lands from the graveyard. I'm playing Life from the Loam, Ramanap Excavator, Crucible of Worlds. Bring on the Armageddon. That's totally fine. Mending of Dominaria to return all lands from the graveyard to the battlefield. Haha, you're a bad man. So you play the Tabernacle, you play yes, right? You play the Tabernacle, you play the Winter Orb, you play Living Lands, you play the Drop of Honey, and you just start blowing stuff up, right? Stacks, and then like for the win condition, you can use. I like Wilderness or Wilderness Reclamation because it allows you to untap your lands during your end step, so you get to untap. Nicely done. The Strip Mine Lock is another viable option. If you can establish the Strip Mine Lock as well as the Drop of Honey lock at the same time, you can definitely start really running players in behind, so that's how I'm using it. I'm trying to use it right now with the new Yavimaya, one that makes all lands forests. We'll see how it goes. Interesting. A bad man. No, it doesn't make friends. But when I'm telling you, when you're playing against combo players who are like, it's tough. It's a tough meta. You can turn 1, turn 2 lose to a good combo deck. So you got to have something to slow them down. All right, a bad man digging up the reserve list and cards here for you folks. I got to run. I got a busy day. I got things to do, and I know you do too. I got places to go. I got people to see. I got commitments to make, and I know I can't break. So I would like to spend just a little bit more time with you folks here in this morning. And unfortunately, my time is limited. This is the best darn part of my day. It's been a fantastic one. And if you like shuffling the fun into your collection, you can join me here in the morning show. I would check out Dual Brains channel coming up. He's going to be doing some investigative reporting on the Fallout situation with the bundles. And that's incredibly wild to see those bundles on pre-order sold out for that crazy price of $300. It's a lot of money to spend on a bundle, and I tell you, it won't be me. I'll be trying to just I'll probably be sitting that one out. Thanks again for tuning in. It's Brody on the Morning Show, here for you each and every day, discussing the prices of Magic cards by way of stock deck. We got some articles, some fun, some movers, some shakers, and a little bit of hilarity here this morning. I love the joke. What kind of doctor is Dr. Pepper? He's a physician, all right? Love it. That was a good one. Thanks to Ben Affleck for that. Give us a comment in the comment section. Hit that. And if you want to hit the notification bell, I think a lot of people are saying that they're not getting the notification. Make sure you hit that notification bell, then you know when we're on the air. Every morning around this time, or maybe a little earlier, 5 a.m. to 6, it's the Brody Alphonso Morning Magic the Gathering talks and stocks here for you folks. Take care of one another. Be well. Peace, love, and happiness. We can take it out to a little bit of Ron Burgundy with a little Yaz flute here this morning to make you feel all right.